One of the most insidious early indicators of dementia involves subtle shifts in working memory and executive function. These changes can manifest covertly through fluctuations in mood, alterations in walking patterns, or challenges in responding to straightforward inquiries. Currently, approximately 7.2 million Americans aged 65 and older live with dementia, with projections estimating growth to nearly 13 million by mid-century, absent major therapeutic advances. Alarmingly, more than 60% of affected individuals overlook these initial red flags entirely, often attributing them to transient factors. Dementia rarely announces itself dramatically with profound forgetfulness or disorientation in familiar surroundings. Instead, it commences through far more deceptive avenues that can evade detection for extended periods. Emerging research suggests pathological processes may initiate up to 20 years prior to formal diagnosis, involving gradual neuronal loss, regional brain atrophy, and neuroinflammation in vulnerable areas such as the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, all while outward daily functioning appears largely preserved. A pivotal 2023 investigation published in Alzheimer's and Dementia Journal identified specific behavioral nuances capable of forecasting subsequent cognitive deterioration with remarkable 88% precision. This implies countless individuals presently exhibit nascent dementia markers in routine thoughts, emotions, and movements, yet routinely dismiss or rationalize them. Compounding the issue, these precursors frequently mimic commonplace experiences like heightened stress, normative aging variability, or isolated off days, allowing insidious progression unchecked. Internally, however, transformative alterations unfold. Synaptic connections degrade, amyloid plaques and tau tangles accumulate in select circuits, and microvascular integrity compromises, subtly eroding foundational cognitive reserves. Tragically, the vast majority, perhaps 99%, remain oblivious to these harbingers. The rationale lies in their non-stereotypical presentation. They seldom register as overt brain issues initially. Here at Silver Vitality Vault, we present the 11 earliest dementia indicators commonly disregarded daily, ordered from comparatively milder to profoundly prognostic. Remain engaged as the pinnacle sign, not merely the most insidious, but now robustly correlated with incipient dementia stages and concurrent cardiovascular compromise, elevates risk by over 57% when neglected, yet receives scant public discourse. Equipped with this knowledge, you gain empowerment to scrutinize patterns in yourself or cherished ones, facilitating timely consultation and potential mitigation prior to irreversible escalation. Early recognition transforms prognosis dramatically, enabling lifestyle optimizations, pharmacologic interventions, and supportive strategies during reversible windows. Before proceeding, kindly indicate your viewing location, country, city, or region in the comments. We meticulously review and respond to each, fostering a supportive community exchange. Now commence the revelation. Number 11, impulsive actions or compromised decision-making. These shifts often emerge inconspicuously, perhaps over-tipping generously at dining establishments without full awareness, extending unwarranted trust toward unfamiliar individuals, or impulsively acquiring non-essential items like novelty devices or redundant services. Such episodes may initially appear as benign quirks or fleeting oversights, but they can escalate to more significant risks, such as making hasty financial decisions or engaging in unsafe behaviors like wandering into traffic without caution. Family members might notice patterns like sudden subscriptions to unnecessary online services or donating large sums to unverified causes, dismissing them as eccentricity rather than warning signs. Neuropathologically, however, disruption targets the frontal lobes, orchestrating inhibitory control, risk assessment, and consequential reasoning. Progressive volumetric loss or disrupted connectivity here diminishes behavioral regulation, precipitating atypical or hazardous choices. This is compounded by changes in the orbitofrontal cortex, which influences reward processing and impulse modulation, leading to a heightened susceptibility to immediate gratifications over long-term consequences. Additionally, neurotransmitter imbalances such as reduced dopamine regulation can exacerbate these tendencies, creating a cycle of poor judgment. A 2020 Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience longitudinal analysis tracking over 1,300 mature adults across 5 years determined that emergent deficits in fiscal prudence correlated with 72% elevated subsequent dementia likelihood. Critically, these lapses rarely provoke immediate alarm. Individuals may perceive them as expressions of magnanimity, adventure, or levity. Yet, further research from a 2020 study in Scientific Reports highlights that elevated impulsivity is linked to cognitive declines in cognitive domains like attention and executive function, increasing dementia risk by disrupting daily adaptive behaviors. Another analysis in Cortex from 2011 used a multidimensional approach to show that impulsivity changes in mild Alzheimer's disease involve both cognitive and affective components, further elevating progression odds. Yet pattern emergence, recurrent erosion of foresight, restraint, or adaptive planning signals an authentic cerebral alert, frequently antedating overt mnemonic impairment by considerable margins. Expanding awareness, frontal executive dysfunction also underlies related phenomena like diminished insight, anosognosia, where affected persons remain unaware of their evolving limitations, further complicating self-monitoring. This lack of awareness can lead to denial of issues, delaying intervention, and studies indicate that such impulsive behaviors may align with midlife agitation as possible risk markers for later dementia, as seen in a 2020 study on mild behavioral impairment. Overall, recognizing these subtle shifts early can prompt timely cognitive assessments and lifestyle adjustments to mitigate risks. Number 10. Gradual retreat from social engagements. Formerly relished interactions, conversing with nearby residents, participating in structured group pursuits, or maintaining regular telephonic contact with companions may progressively feel burdensome or unappealing, prompting preference for solitude. This might manifest as skipping family gatherings, avoiding community events like book clubs or hobby groups, or reducing online interactions that once brought joy, leading to a shrinking social circle over time. Excuses such as "I'm too busy" or "I prefer quiet evenings" become more frequent, masking underlying discomfort. Attributions often center on fatigue, transient disinterest, or circumstantial demands, yet profounder mechanisms operate. Dementia erodes not solely retrieval faculties, but also drive, effective cue interpretation, and linguistic fluency. As neural circuits falter in tracking dialogue flow, discerning subtlety like sarcasm, or retrieving apt responses, interpersonal exchanges grow cognitively taxing, potentially evoking frustration or self-consciousness. Consequently, subconscious avoidance strategies develop to circumvent discomfort, such as feigning illness or changing topics abruptly to end conversations. The Lancet Healthy Longevity 2021 inquiry positioned interpersonal disengagement as among the foremost prodromal harbingers, surpassing even subtle mnemonic grievances in prognostic value. Adults exhibiting escalating isolation faced 1.6-fold amplified dementia vulnerability across ensuing quadrennium. Manifestations vary subtly. Sporadic attendance persists, yet profound involvement wanes. Attentive listening diminishes, reciprocal contributions decline, progressively constricting relational spheres. This contraction transcends mere melancholy or temperament. It reflects cerebral strain in sustaining communicative synchrony. Longitudinal data further link robust social networks to buffered hippocampal volumes and reduced inflammatory burden, underscoring isolation's bidirectional reinforcement of neurodegenerative trajectories. A 2023 study from Johns Hopkins found social isolation as a key risk factor for dementia in older adults, suggesting interventions like technology-assisted connections could mitigate this. Additionally, a 2024 JAMA Network Open cohort linked increased isolation to higher risks of mortality, disability, and dementia, emphasizing the joint effects of loneliness and social withdrawal. Research in Alzheimer's and dementia from 2023 also showed that weaker social ties elevate dementia risk, with social frailty as a predictive measure. Encouraging maintained social activities through structured programs may help preserve cognitive resilience. Number 9. Nuanced alterations in visual processing or depth estimation. Frequent minor collisions with furnishings, inadvertent spills, or challenges accurately gauging intervals during vehicular operation or parallel parking warrant attention. Such incidents may superficially resemble motor incoordination or refractive shifts, yet frequently stem from visuospatial dysregulation, traceable to cerebral metamorphosis. Examples include bumping into door frames, misjudging the distance to a coffee cup leading to knocks, or struggling with depth perception in crowded spaces like supermarkets. Regions governing spatial mapping and perceptual integration, particularly occipital-parietal junctions, undergo early vulnerability, yielding discordant ocular inputs despite intact sensory acuity. This precipitates operational hurdles in routine navigation, such as difficulty reading maps or assembling puzzles that once were simple. A 2019 neurology cohort encompassing nearly 2,000 subjects ascertained that deteriorating visuospatial proficiency conferred 65% augmented dementia susceptibility within triennium, notwithstanding preserved mnemonic screening. Thus, recurrent unexplained perceptual mishaps, omitted stair treads, misgrasped objects, or disorientation in novel settings may constitute inaugural cerebral cautions. Compounding factors include concomitant vascular burdens, exacerbating white matter hyperintensities, disrupting parieto-occipital tracts, amplifying susceptibility in comorbid profiles. Further, a 2024 study in JAMA Ophthalmology tied visual acuity and eye conditions to genetic risks for Alzheimer's, showing impaired vision as a predictor. Research from UCSF in 2024 identified bizarre visual symptoms like constructional dyspraxia in 61% of posterior cortical atrophy cases, an early Alzheimer's variant. A UK study in 2024 linked loss of visual sensitivity to dementia prediction 12 years prior, based on over 8,000 participants. These findings underscore the need for eye exams as part of early dementia screening to address modifiable risks like cataracts. Number 8. Challenges. Executing routinized mastered procedures, preparing signature dishes, navigating habitual commutes, or administering household finances suddenly demand repeated reference checks or engender mid-process uncertainty. This could involve forgetting steps in a familiar recipe like adding ingredients twice, or getting lost on a daily route due to missed turns, or struggling with bill payments by overlooking due dates repeatedly. These transcend mere absent-mindedness. They signify fragmentation in sequential orchestration, anticipatory strategizing, and procedural enactment once effortless. Parietal frontal networks mediating multifaceted action hierarchies exhibit early compromise, impairing hierarchical task decomposition beyond isolated recall deficits. The 2022 Journal of the American Geriatric Society examination revealed multi-step quotidian impediments portended 53% heightened transition probability from mild impairment to frank dementia biennially. Illustrative disruptions encompass remote control perplexity despite lifelong familiarity or procedural halts during elementary self-care sequences, such as brushing teeth or dressing in order. Such pauses reflect eroding neural efficiency, not volitional laxity, harbingers warranting vigilant monitoring, particularly when escalating in complexity or frequency. A 2024 study in The Lancet Healthy Longevity explored impacts of early-stage dementia on everyday activities, noting increased risks and non-completion as key issues. Additionally, NEJM research from 2003 linked leisure activities to reduced dementia risk, suggesting cognitive engagement in routines buffers decline. Occupational studies in 2023 found mentally stimulating jobs lower dementia odds by preserving procedural memory. Interventions like task checklists may help maintain independence longer. Number 7. Linguistic hurdles or lexical retrieval struggles. Mid-dialogue, commonplace terms evade grasp, refrigerator supplanted by circumlocutory cold storage device, prompting compensatory gestures or humorous deflection, yet underlying unease persists. This might extend to struggling with names of family members or objects like keys, becoming door openers, leading to frustration in conversations. This transcends casual tip-of-tongue phenomena. It denotes focal disruption within left temporal nomenclature repositories. Anomic aphasia characterizes initial presentations, preserving conceptual knowledge amid access blockade. Brain and Language 2018, tracking of nominal retrieval lapses tripled Alzheimer's progression odds sextennially. Escalation manifests via augmented filler usage, thingamajig, circumvention of elaborate discourse, or reticence, neurological, not idiosyncratic. Associated temporal pole involvement further impairs semantic fluency, compounding communicative isolation. A 2024 University of Toronto study found speech speed as a stronger predictor of brain health than word finding alone. Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience 2015 linked word finding difficulties to early AD manifestations. Another 2024 study in clinical linguistics and phonetics noted increased empty words in mild cognitive impairment and Alzheimer's. Monitoring language changes through apps or diaries can aid early detection. Number 6. Heightened restlessness or emerging anxiety. Unfamiliar jitteriness, tension, or situational discomfort in erstwhile tolerable contexts, crowded venues, solitary intervals, or mundane errands may arise abruptly. This could include pacing at home, avoiding outings due to unease, or experiencing panic in familiar stores. Rationalizations invoke external stressors or hypersensitivity, yet amygdala prefrontal disconnectivity drives amplified threat appraisal and emotional dysregulation. Overreactive limbic responses to benign cues ensue, yielding pacing, fidgeting, or premature exits. American Journal of Psychiatry 2020 linked novel onset anxiety, particularly alongside mnemonic lapses, to 96% surged Alzheimer's vulnerability triennially, approaching doubled baseline. Dismissal as transient turmoil belies its prognostic gravity. Persistent, contextually disproportionate apprehension demands scrutiny as neurobiological sentinel. A 2024 study in Journal of the American Geriatric Society found chronic and new anxiety associated with increased dementia risk. CNN reported in 2024 that anxiety triples dementia odds over 10 years. A meta-analysis in JCM 2020 showed 57% higher risk for those with anxiety. Mindfulness or therapy may reduce this risk factor. Number 5. Impaired comprehension of visual content or textual material. Engaging print media yields protracted processing delays, repetitive line rereading, locus misplacement, despite optical clarity. Diagrammatic elements, signage, or televisual captions similarly confound, independent of acuity deficits, such as struggling with newspaper articles or TV subtitles. Posterior cortical networks, inclusive angular gyrus, atrophy prematurely, hindering interpretive integration despite pristine retinal transmission. JAMA Neurology 2021 mega cohort 10,000 elders tied visuoverbal struggles to 49% escalated incipient symptomatology quadrennially, frequently sans mnemonic primacy. Avid readers or puzzle enthusiasts abruptly disengaging signal potential decoding erosion, not mere ennui. A 2021 study in BMJ Open showed reading prevents long-term cognitive decline. Brain 1986 research detailed reading deterioration patterns in Alzheimer's. A 2021 News Medical report linked childhood reading problems to later dementia risk scores. Encouraging adapted reading formats like audiobooks may support cognitive health. Number 4. Diminished attention to personal grooming or presentation. Established hygienic regimens, daily ablutions, coordinated attire selection, follicular maintenance, wither in priority or execution. Procrastination, later, or indifference supplants former diligence, yielding cumulative neglect, like wearing soiled clothes or skipping showers for days. This denotes executive derailment within dorsolateral prefrontal domains governing initiation, persistence, and goal-directed sequencing, rendering automatized rituals effortful or inconsequential. Journal of Alzheimer's Disease 2017 documented 83% grooming lapse incidence within inaugural year post-subclinical onset, memory relatively unscathed. Subtleties. Recurrent wardrobe repetition, deodorant omission, herald shift from habitual to burdensome, cognitive rather than motivational. A 2018 study in gerontology and geriatric medicine linked agnosia to hygiene issues in dementia. Research shows dementia increases self-neglect risk, especially in unsupervised settings. Alzheimer's Society notes progressive need for help with grooming. Caregiver prompts can maintain dignity. Number 3. Conversational repetition. Recently relayed anecdotes or inquiries resurface minutes later, unwitting duplication evoking polite tolerance initially, yet mounting inescapably, such as repeating a story about a recent trip multiple times in 1 hour. Hippocampal attrition impairs nascent encoding, sparing remote consolidation while fresh traces evaporate. Neurobiology of Aging 2018 pegged unwitting reiteration to quintupled diagnostic odds biennially, one of behavioral research's stoutest correlates. Normalization by kin, already mentioned, or personal chagrin obscures hippocampal distress signaling mnemonic consolidation failure. A 2024 NIA study linked subtle speech changes to Alzheimer's biomarkers. Exploration in 2024 showed verbal repetition common across dementia stages. Alzheimer's and Dementia 2024 tied speech patterns in memory recall to tau burden. Patience and redirection strategies aid management. Number 2, temporal disorientation, regarding dates, chronology, or seasons awakening bereft of weekday awareness, conflating proximate intervals, or seasonally incongruent apparel reflect profound chronoceptive unraveling, like wearing winter coats in summer or missing appointments due to date confusion. Default mode circuitry, posterior cingulate pivotal, falters in mental chronology traversal, past, present, future coherence dissolves. Journal of Gerontology 2020 associated recurrent chronoceptual bewilderment with 62% amplified moderate escalation within 18 months. Beyond episodic lapses, pervasive temporal drift imperils regimens, medication appointments, heightening vulnerability. A 2020 Frontiers in Neurology study explored altered time awareness in dementia. NPGing 2016 reviewed time distortions in Alzheimer's. Optoceutics 2023 discussed dyschronometria in dementia. Calendars and reminders can mitigate effects. Number 1. Nuanced gait modifications or locomotor perturbations. Few correlate ambulation style with cognition, yet incipient gait metamorphosis ranks paramount prodromally. Subtle deceleration, foot dragging, asymmetrical arm swing, abbreviated stride, or mechanized rigidity emerge insidiously, painless yet divergent from baseline, possibly noticed during walks as increased shuffling or unsteadiness. Locomotion integrates cerebellar harmony, basal ganglionic cadence, cortical precision, and frontal orchestration. Dementia preferentially disrupts fronto-subcortical loops, yielding dyssynchrony sans paresis. Journal of Alzheimer's Disease Reports 2022 scrutinized 16,000 elders, linking decelerated or rhythmic gait anomalies to doubled quadrennial dementia liability. Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience 2021 further tied perturbations to 57% heightened incipient cardiac decompensation propensity, prefiguring overt symptomatology, bridging neurovascular confluence. A 2022 NIA study showed combined gait and cognitive decline better predicts dementia. Gait and Posture 2007 reviewed gait in aging and dementias. NEJM 2002 found gait abnormalities predict non-Alzheimer's dementia. Neurologists increasingly deploy observable gait metrics, videographic, quantifiable, as accessible non-mnemonic sentinels, outpacing subjective reportage. Familial attribution to arthritic or exertional origins overlooks cerebral cardiac crosstalk. Appreciable deviation merits multidisciplinary appraisal, including exercise programs to potentially slow progression. You now possess insight into these 11 prodromal dementia manifestations routinely minimized. Spanning communicative, affective, perceptual, hygienic, mnemonic, temporal, and motor domains, they belie ostensibly trivial yet portentous intracranial reconfiguration. Critically, myriad indicators antecede clinical demarcation by a decade or bicentennial, constituting not mere omens but interventional apertures. Harnessing modifiable domains, aerobics, nutrition, slumber hygiene, intellectual stimulation during plasticity preservation. Foremost strides entail vigilance. This presentation illuminates concealed trajectories antecedent irreversible consolidation. We invite discourse. Has familial or personal encounter encompassed these precursors? Were they rationalized as normative senescence? Which resonated unexpectedly? Locomotor shifts, perceptual nuances, reiterative narratives. Your narratives illuminate pathways, potentially aiding countless. If illuminating, endorse via like, disseminate to vulnerable circles, potentially preserving cognition. Subscribe to Silver Vitality Vault for continual cerebral guardianship content. Comprehending Neural Dynamics inaugurates proactive stewardship. Gratitude for your companionship.